everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be ranking albums from death metal legends, Morbid Angel. And we're starting off with their 1989 debut, Altars of Madness. And this is going to perfection for me, honestly. Very, very solid album. I really like Immortal Ride Suffocation. My personal favorite on here is Chapel of Ghouls, though. But lots of solid stuff on here. This Chapel of Ghouls is my personal favorite. I also love Lord of All Fevers and Plagues, Damnation, Blasphemy, Evil Spells. I also like Bleed for the Devil as well. Really solid album with one big standout of Chapel of Ghouls, but the rest of it is very consistent. Kind of reminds me of like Death's Scream, Bloody Gore, and Leprosy. I don't think it's as good as Leprosy, but it's better than Scream, Bloody Gore. So it's like right in that middle ground of Leprosy and Scream, Bloody Gore, where I would probably put it at I would probably put Leprosy at perfection, put this at near perfection, and put Scream, Bloody Gore at fantastic if I was just giving it its own ranking, if that makes sense. But anyway, time for the next album, released in 1991, Blessed Are the Sick. And this album is going to grate for me. Controversial opinion alert, because I know a lot of people love Blessed Are the Sick. But in my opinion, this album, especially compared to the debut, just falls a little short. Like, I like the instrumentals and all, but in my opinion, there's a few too many. I don't know if we needed 4 instrumental interludes on here. But I do like songs like Fall from Grace, Brainstorm, Rebel Lands, Day of Suffering, the title track. Thy Kingdom Come is my personal favorite on here. Unholy Blasphemies is also solid. Same with Abominations and the Ancient Ones. Relatively solid album, but this is like a couple of steps down from the debut, at least in my opinion. I feel pretty good at ranking this at a solid B. But next up we have Covenant, released in 1993. And this album is going to fantastic. I thought this was a bit of a step up from Blessed Are the Sick. This one honestly feels like a combination of Altars of Madness and Blessed Are the Sick, honestly. I really like the opener, Rapture, Pain Divine. My favorite, though, is the closer, God of Emptiness. I love this track. Also, Nar Motora, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a solid instrumental as well. But that closing title track is like very close to perfection in my opinion. It almost feels like the blueprint for what they're gonna do on their next album, which we will get into later. Don't worry about it; it's coming. We're gonna get into that soon. But there's great stuff on here, like Rapture, Pain Divine, World of Shit, Vengeance is Mine, Lion's Den, Blood on My Hands, Angel of Disease, Sworn to the Black. Fantastic album. I would seriously give this an A tier level album. It's not quite perfection, but it's very close. But next up we have my personal favorite Morbid Angel album, Domination. This is going to the tippy top of perfection. This, in my opinion, is a 10 out of 10 album, despite the horrible album art. I do not like this album art. It's mainly the color scheme, if I'm being honest. Why would you pick green and purple? It looks like vomit. Why? I just imagine how good this album art would look with like a red and black color scheme. I'm just saying, y'all. But anyway, besides that, excellent album. I love the opener, the title track, Where the Slime Live is probably my personal favorite Morbid Angel track. I also love I See Ears to Hear. Also love the instrumental Melting, Nothing But Fear, Dawn of the Angry, This Means War, Caesar's Palace, the instrumental Dreaming. I also love Inquisition, Burn With Me, and Hate Work. 10 out of 10 album. It's a lot more groovy and sludgy with a really weird vocal cadence. Like, I can't even imitate it, like, on where they do with Where the Slime Lives, because it's not a straight up guttural. It's like a fuzzy, like it almost sounds like he's gargling nails or acid or something. Like it sounds like he took like a drink of water and then did a guttural on top of it. It is very hard to replicate, and I don't think I have the chops to do it, so I'm not going to try. But then we have, in 1998, Formula's Fatal to the Flesh. This is going to the top of good for me, personally. I think this album's a little over long at 50 minutes. I could also deal without out the 5 instrumentals, honestly. Like, I'm not kidding. You could probably cut him to a gas giant, and you could also trim down the final track of Invocation of the Continual One. Yes, I know this isn't the final track, but it's the final song of music that's not an instrumental interlude, so I don't know. You could trim the 9-minute song down, and I could also deal without the 3 closing instrumental interludes, in my opinion. In my opinion, this album only needs 1 instrumental interlude with the Disturbance in Great Slumber. That's a great instrumental interlude. But this kind of closes on a foul ball for me personally. Like in my opinion, you could really stand to cut like the last 4 tracks, in my opinion. But everything else is really solid though, like Heaving Earth, Prey of Hatred, Bill Your Sag, Nothing Is Not, Chambers of Dis, however you pronounce that, Hellspawn the Rebirth, and Covenant of Death are all very solid tracks. It's just like it just kind of closes on a sour note for me personally. But next up, we have Gateways to Annihilation, released in 2000. And it's a little bit better than Formula's Fatal to the Flesh, admittedly. It's at least it's shorter at at a pretty lean 44 minutes. I appreciate that. I could deal without it opening up on an instrumental interlude, though. I feel like they could cut that one and get this to like a lean, mean 10 tracks. And if it was a lean, mean 10 tracks, I might have actually rated it instead of a B minus, like a solid B, honestly. Maybe even a B plus. But solid track with Summoning Redemption, Ageless Still I Am, He Who Sleeps, To the Victor the Spoils, At One with Nothing. Opening of the Gates is my personal favorite. I also like Secure Limitations. Awakening is a solid instrumental. I also like I and the Closer, God of the Forsaken Rutan. A relatively solid album, just kind of pales in comparison to their early work, at least in my opinion. This album still pales in comparison to their early work. But next up, we have their 2003 release, Heretic. This one surprised me. I really expected this to go to good, but it actually ended up at the bottom of fantastic. Now, granted, I would still give this album like a B plus on its own, but for their own discography, I would consider this like an A minus for their own discography, personally. I don't know. I just really, it feels like there's like a new life to this. It feels like they're really eager to make music again. It sounds like they're having fun again. And I really liked songs like Cleansed in Pestilence, Enshrined by Grace, Beneath the Hollow, Curse the Flesh, Praise the Strength, Stricken Arise. I also like God of Our Own Divinity, Within Thy Enemy as well. And even some of the instrumentals like Memories of the Past and Victorious March of Reign the Conqueror actually work really well for me. But I could deal without 3 of the interludes, like Drum Check, which is basically just a drum solo. Born Again, which is just basically their guitarist farting around on the guitar for like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I could also deal without Abyssius as well. That one's just kind of boring to me. I could deal without 3 of the interludes, but the rest of this is so strong that I'm willing to look past that. It still has flaws, and I would still give this like a B plus on its own, but for their own discography, I would put this at an A minus. Personally, for me. But then we have the 2011 release, Elude, Divinum, and Sonus. This is going to bad. Now, granted, I don't think it's like 0 out of 10 territory or 0 out of 5 territory. I think this is more like a 1.5 out of 5 territory, maybe a light 2. like a strong 1.5 out of 5 to a light 2. I actually debated on making this tier meh, but I eventually decided on bad after just thinking about it a little bit more. And I only think one of the tracks on here is as bad as people say with Radicoat. This one is just basically just ripping off Queens of the Stone Age. No one knows with the da 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 da. It's just basically ripping off Queens of the Stone Age with that one, with just a much more hammy vocal performance. I'm also not the biggest fan of Destructos versus Earth Attack either. Just way too long. First half not bad. Like Omnipotence is a solid instrumental. Tour Stream is an okay track. Estero Vargalo and Blades for Bow and I'm Morbid. But once we get to 10 More Dead, it starts to slump out. And it has like one big dud on there, but the rest of it ain't terrible in my opinion. But in my opinion, you can skip this album. This album's worth a skip. Next up, we have Kingdoms Disdained, released in 2017. This thing's like a C-. It's better than Elude the Venomous Sonus, I can say that much. But in my opinion, this is a bit of an overcorrection, in my opinion. To the point where it's genuinely hard to point out like standout tracks because everything is on par with each other, but it's also very forgettable. In my opinion, you could probably skip this one too. I don't think it's gonna waste your time or anything like that, like Elude the Venom and Sonus would, but it's just fairly mid and fairly forgettable. What a sorrowful note to close things out on, honestly. Like they started out so strong with like their first 4 albums and almost redeemed themselves with Heretic, but then just fell into pure mediocrity with Elude the Venom and Sonus and Kingdoms Disdained. What a bummer of a note. But that's just my opinion, though. Tell me your rankings of these albums in the comments below. Tell me your favorite Morbid Angel songs, honestly. I would greatly appreciate that. My 2 favorite are probably Where the Slime Lives and Chapel of Ghouls, personally. But, oh, also, if you like what you see here, feel free to drop a like. Drop a comment if you have any problems with my rankings or if you have anything to say to me directly. And if you want to see more, drop a subscribe. I usually post videos once a week. I'll probably be getting just a little political on my next video because I'm going to be doing Stray from the Path, which is a very political band. And you'll just see what happens with that video. That's all I'm going to say. I'm gonna leave you in suspense. But that should do it. All of you have a great day, a great week, and a great weekend. I'll see all of you next week. Take care, everyone.